The next wave of human conscious expansion quietly began last September of 2015. It wasn't announced until February 11th, 2016. But even when it was, only a handful of people, mostly scientists and physicists and geek types, noticed. Amazingly, almost no one in the metaphysical or spiritual community seems to have noticed. And why I'm amazed is because historically, when something like this has happened, the world changed dramatically in the following years. Great leaps forward by humankind, mass migrations occurred, world-changing inventions, new religions formed, secret teachings were made more available to the public. Now, it hasn't happened often. As a matter of fact, the second time it occurred was in the year 1800. Until then, the world of humans was an agricultural-based society for 10,000 years. It had never built anything taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza, about 45 stories high. 95% of the world's population was illiterate and did not know how to read or write. And metaphysical, paranormal, mystery teachings were so secret it was upon penalty of death to reveal them. We did great things, of course, during these first 10,000 years. We built cities, although with short buildings. We circumnavigated the globe. We invented indoor plumbing. We fought great wars. Many, many things. But something happened in the year 1800 that changed everything, that changed our awareness and perspective, that expanded our consciousness and minds and spirits beyond anything that had happened before. Man saw the universe, his world, for the first time differently, with something other than the visible light he had been seeing it with for all of his history. Sir Frederick William Herschel in 1800 saw the world through the infrared spectrum. A year later, Johann Ritter saw it through the ultraviolet spectrum. It would be another 62 years before man saw at additional wavelengths. But during those 62 years, hundreds of thousands migrated to America. Literacy grew by leaps and bounds in both Europe and America. New religions like the Baha'i Faith and Mormons were created, and two of the world's fastest growing religions today. The Reformation movement of spiritualists began with Kate and Margaret Fox. Secret metaphysical teachings were revealed to the public without penalty of death. The telegraph was invented, which allowed humans to communicate over long distances instantly for the first time in history. Then, in 1864, James Maxwell discovered microwaves. In 1880s, Heinrich Hertz discovered radio waves. X-rays were discovered next in 1895. In the 100 years since humankind has had these discoveries, there has been the greatest expansion of knowledge in its history. Simple things like the Eiffel Tower was the first humankind structure built that was taller than the pyramid in 5,000 years, 98 stories tall, almost twice as tall. Einstein postulated the theory of relativity. We have gone nuclear. We have not only learned to fly, but have gone to the moon and sent robots to Mars. Robots. We heal the majority of the diseases that used to kill us. 76% of the world's population is literate. Secret teachings are on television and bookshelves for the masses or bookstores around the globe. Spiritual mediums are on primetime TV. Computers were created and changed the world. Cell phones provide instant communications around the world. We can travel around the whole world in a day, 90 minutes if we're in orbit. versus years, if at all, before. We stopped being an agriculturally based economy and a rural population and became a petroleum based economy, which is now an urban population. The past 200 years has seen greater growth in human achievement than at any comparable time in history. Why? I submit that it was because our level of consciousness was raised to a new level of awareness as our eyes were opened literally to a new wave of perceiving the universe. Our awareness grew, our awareness expanded when we suddenly could see beyond the physical light spectrum. Starting with infrared in 1800 and progressing from there, each time we expanded our literal sight or vision of the universe, our world, our consciousness expanded, and thus so did we as a species. Did this new perception cause the expansion, or did expansion in consciousness cause the new perception to be possible, and thus we grew? I don't really know. But always our leaps in consciousness have been made in the electromagnetic spectrum. Visible light, infrared, radio waves, microwaves, all in the electromagnetic spectrum. We have been limited to seeing the universe through one side of the house, each window varying, giving new vistas, providing new consciousness and awareness, but always through the electromagnetic spectrum or curtain side of the house. Thus, we have been able to do what we have always done, use our intelligence to work with the knowledge that we have. Visible electromagnetic spectrum light for thousands of years. Invisible electromagnetic light for 200 years. We can only know and work with what we can perceive. Until now, our perceptions have been only through the electromagnetic spectrum. The humankind's consciousness elevated last September 2015. It was reported on February 11th, 2016, after months of confirmation. Gravitational waves were detected by the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, or LIGO, L-I-G-O, as it was predicted by Einstein that they would be discovered. For the first time in history, humankind can see the universe through something other than the electromagnetic spectrum. Gravity waves, not EM waves. This is like a blind person perceiving the world only through touch, now suddenly being able to perceive through light via his eyes. This might seem confusing, but it is that dramatic of a change in mediums of perception from touch to sight. Or imagine being able to perceive the world only through sight and having none of your other senses, no taste, no touch, no smell, no hearing. Like watching television with the sound off. You can tell a lot about what is going on, but you could tell a whole lot more if you could hear what was going on. Discovery of the invisible light spectrum was like going from black and white TV to color TV, but the sound is still off. We have been viewing the universe through a keyhole. And when you do view through a keyhole, you can only see part of the room you're looking into. 85% of our universe is made up of what we call dark matter, which we cannot see. It makes up 85% of the mass of the universe. We don't know what it is. We cannot see it. We don't have a clue about it, except it's there. We have been trying to understand the next room, the universe, by looking through a keyhole. The door of that keyhole may have just opened wide. Like waves on a beach that leave deposits behind that tell us about the ocean, the waves that we have experienced, waves in our past that have brought great leaps in consciousness that I've mentioned, has just happened again, but even more profoundly. What will the next 100 years bring? Huge mass human conscious growth. Humans will be more empowered than ever before with personal and spiritual gifts. We as a species will evolve into a greater being. We may leap across the galaxy or across dimensions. Now, I don't think it's going to be all roses, because in the past 200 years, when these other waves have passed and we've seen the results, which many things have been good, there have been great world wars, the Great Depression, deathly civil wars, many great evils. But whatever manifests will be more than we have been able to imagine before now, because now we see with new eyes. What was the first wave, some of you might wonder, since I did say 1800 was the second wave event. Well, it happened about 6,000 years ago. After being around for 35,000 years or more as Homo sapiens, we suddenly decided to make an alphabet, learn to write, create geometry, algebra, and math in general, and build cities. Why? A wave event. But I don't know what the wave event was. But I think someone watching this does know. I'm Jim Edwards. I'm a businessman and a spiritual truth seeker, and I appreciate your time in listening to this. Go and discover what is coming. Goodbye.